This conference will now be recorded.
All right, and with that, I will hand it over.
Thanks, Al. Matthew?
Hey guys, Matt Fernandez here, Director of Marketing and Agent at Icon Properties. Today we're going to be going over 10 ways to sell your home faster during and after quarantine. Basically just 10 tips that we see are prevalent throughout the market prior to this, during COVID-19, and will be after COVID-19 as things going forward. Again, here with my mother and broker, Raquel Fernandez. Very excited to bring this to you guys.
Okay.
Just go to the next slide.
A little about us. Well, thank you everybody for joining. We really appreciate it. We were saying before how it's so difficult now to go outside and socialize. And as a lot of us that are social, we're really, challenged with that and trying to learn the new normal. So it's nice to be able to connect in another format. A little about us. My name is Raquel Fernandez. I'm the broker owner of Icon Properties. We've been around since 2004. We have a brokerage on Main Street in Port Jefferson. A little bit about our numbers. Last year, we were the #1 real estate in Port Jefferson. We did $58 million in volume and 130 transactions plus in 58 days. We're really excited. I've been a resident of Port Jefferson for 15 years, and we're also founded our non-for-profit called Icon Cares that has been doing events and different things. You can find out more about that on our website. And Matthew, as he said, is the director of marketing, my son, a realtor, and also a co-founder of Icon Cares.
So basically today, guys, the purpose of this webinar, we're going to be helping give a better grasp to home sellers on the best practices and tactics for selling your home in today's market and the climate we're seeing with everything with COVID-19. We're going to be discussing picking the right agency, having the right brokers representing you, also how we can adjust to this new normal of real estate transactions today and through the future. So let's just dive on in. Tip number 1. Oh boy. Interesting. You guys could bear with me for 1 second. Why is it not coming up? That is very odd. If you guys can just give me 1 second.
Why don't you just get into it, Matt, and then we can always obviously download. They'll have
so basically, Number 1, navigating the waters of selling your home in COVID-19. You'll find some constants that we'll need to have to adopt. Number 1 is going to be hiring a professional photographer and videographer. This is becoming key, as you guys may be aware. Per New York State mandate, we're not really allowed to be entering homes or showing homes to clients and buyers. So the way we're kind of working with that and being able to provide the most wholesome showing to the buyers and getting them comfortable to make an offer from home is with these virtual walkthroughs and video tours, which are becoming really key as we're going through this together as an industry. Definitely something we recommend, suggest, because having the photos and videos to give someone the layout and an idea of what they're actually stepping into is huge, and actually allows for them to make a educated decision on whether they'd want to move forward on the property or not. Number 2.
Okay, curb appeal. It's really important, guys, to really work on curb appeal today, because what is happening today is that obviously as we are going through these difficult times with COVID, a lot of times the buyers are not able to really go into your house, and the most that they're going to see are, like Matt said, the virtual tours, the pictures online, and then a drive-by, coming through your property. So a little bit of mulch, a little bit of weeding, putting a couple shrubs, you'd be surprised how important that is and how much that can really make your property stand out. You have buyers that are going through and, looking at 10, 15 properties on during the weekend. And if yours doesn't have that curb appeal and the one up the road does, more likely they're going to try to do a virtual tour with the other one. So really important to get a few bags of mulch and really spend some time on your yard prior to putting the house on the market. Small investment for great results. Tip number 3, declutter. Remove excess furniture. We all know that, we all like to have our own style and we're all unique in that. And, in my house, I have blue walls, I have green walls, I'm very tropical and I like color. But in today's market, you want to make sure that you are neutral. It's really important that you're trying to let the buyers come through and picture themselves living in your home. So when we're coming through and the buyers are going through pictures again and virtual tours, and they are looking at all our family portraits of our great grandmothers and our grandparents and our kids and all these different memorabilia that we put up throughout the time that we live in our home, which is awesome, it becomes a little difficult for the buyers to be able to envision themselves there. So this is the time to take a little bit of detail in that, get some boxes and just put some stuff away, store some things and make it as neutral as possible. Thinking about, how is this going to, look if I were staging the home? Less is more. A really important tip right now that we give everyone when we go through the homes is taking that time. And since we're all home and have all this extra time, it is a really good time to be able to go through all of that. So that is tip number 3.
All right, so tip number 4, it's now or never. Be flexible when scheduling showings. This is kind of a tip that could be taken before, during, or after what's going on with COVID. It's always good to be able to accommodate the buyers immediately. People get cold feet, or they'll find another home they like if you can't show them right away. Someone says, I want to see the property tomorrow at 3 o'clock. You're free, but you don't really want to show at that time. In the next 4 days till you're free on the weekend to show the property, they could have already looked at 5, 6, 7 other houses and already submitted offers and binders on those properties, ultimately disqualifying them as a buyer for your property and hindering you in the sale of your home. Definitely a huge thing to be flexible, because as flexible as you can be, the more people we as agents can fill into the slots of your schedule to see your property and get as many eyes on it as possible to get it moved quickly. A huge tip there, and something that is sure to help usher the process along.
That is correct.
Number 5.
Make it Switzerland. Repainting an interior and changing carpet. Again, I can't stress enough how important it is to, back to what we were talking about, decluttering, is being neutral. Buyers, are put off by, too many colors or what have you. And really being able now to take the time that we're all quarantined, and it looks like we'll be quarantined for a couple more weeks, to go to Home Depot and, pick up some paint and maybe paint our kids' room that was, orange or what have you, whatever phase our kids go through, making sure that we try to keep these colors neutral. If there's a carpet that maybe we all have pets and one of our pets, wanted to spend more time in my daughter's room and, the carpet reflects it, this is a good time to really look at that and make that investment. One of the things that happens is that buyers will come through, will see carpet and think that it is a huge investment, and this can deteriorate them from wanting to put an offer on your property. And I've seen that we've gone to Home Depot and measured for a room, and it could be $1,000. Buyers are thinking, oh my God, to change the carpet, it could be thousands. So really trying to minimize that and presenting your house in the best light possible when it comes to small repairs like that can go a long way for you to get the best bang for your buck when we're selling your home.
Absolutely. And it really helps when we make it Switzerland or neutral. It helps spread and widen our demographic and allows for more people off first sight on the internet through pictures and videos to say, that's a house I really want to go see. First off, for the fact that it's fresh paint and you could tell that it's crisp, fresh lines, it's bright whites that on the moldings and everything. It really reflects in the pictures and in video as you're walking through, and it will attract 100% of the time more buyers. So definitely something to consider when putting your house up on the market. Let's head on to the next one.
All right, only the best, picking the right agency. Really important, guys. Taking the time to really make sure that you do your due diligence on whatever brokerage you're looking to, represent your property. There's a lot that goes into selling a home. There's a lot of things as it relates to attorneys, the laws that are now in place. I mean, if you have a brokerage that's not up on what's going on with the mandates from Cuomo, you're dead in the water, because it's really going to be important that your brokerage is the source of information on how to present your property, on how to get buyers to your property, and how to close the deal. So really making sure that the brokers that you are interviewing, you ask the right questions. What is the marketing strategy going to be? What outlets are we going to be broadcasting the homes, especially now where this is going to be such a huge part of being able to sell a property, is going to be social media and platforms of that nature. So making sure that you have the brokerage that understands all of that and knows how they're going to present your property in the best light online is going to be very important. Yeah. Virtual tours. Is this a brokerage that's going to make sure that they offer that as part of their listing incentives? Our brokerage does. If you come and sign up with us, we offer all of those tools at cost to you to be able to bring the listing on board and make sure that we're going to do everything we can to put it out there in the best possible way. So making sure that you do the right thing by hiring the right people, by asking the right questions, is going to be crucial post quarantine.
Absolutely, and just a peace of mind for any potential listers or someone who's looking to sell their home. There are so many places that, aside from just the drive-by, someone sees a sign or they see an ad in the newspaper. We have Redfin, we have MLS, where we can attach your video walkthrough. We post onto YouTube, which is a huge tool because it allows people to just type in your address on Google, and the first video that comes up will be of your property. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of our social medias that really allow us to branch out to as many people as possible in really a 2-second time when we're just clicking that button. It's really just having the people who are forward thinking and very kind of creative and innovative with the new technologies that we have and platforms we have to broadcast. Definitely a huge tool that allows us to market your property much better, and something you should look for in any agency you're going to be working with.
Absolutely. Well said.
Okay.
Tip number 7. Go ahead, Matt. If there's no CO, don't show. Oh, no, I can't stress this enough. So one of the things that are really important, again, now being quarantined, looking for all the COs, the deed, your permits, anything that you would have done to the property, like we said in the slide. You decided to build a deck 7 years ago or convert the garage, but you didn't quite finish the permit process out. We have to really focus on this at the beginning of your transaction, because we've seen that trying to close out a permit can take 4 to 6 months. It is a nightmare to deal with anything that has to do with the town in regards to timeline. So I can't even imagine what that's going to look like coming out of this. So right now, taking the time, making sure that we find our surveys, our deeds, our permits, and our COs. That's something you want to give to your brokerage and your attorney at the time that you start the transaction. At the very least, if you can at least identify that there's something missing, that gives us a leg up. That gives us the opportunity to get you the right professionals to work with you to get these things addressed, so that when we get to the closing in 90 days, we're done, or in 60 days in most cases. We're not going to be held up because of that. And the deal can potentially die, buyers can get discouraged, and things of that nature. So this is really important to do now, especially since we're home. Go through those boxes, get in the attic, dig that paperwork up, and make sure that you have all your stuff lined up.
Absolutely, and it really is just the act of doing it. It's not like any of these documents or required paperwork would be hard to acquire unless obviously it isn't CO'd, whatever it is we're discussing. But just doing that in the beginning saves you so much headache down the line, because a lot of you who are going to be listing your homes are lining up to purchase another home. So if you're timing up your closings to try and line up at the same time, all it takes is not having that CO paperwork in line to hinder you potentially 3 or 4 months, like Rachel was saying.
Or
It's
worse.
definitely something to put in your mind and drill in your head. It's important to have this already set in stone, aside, and ready for when the time comes that these documents are called upon.
And
Definitely
just
that.
that we've seen sometimes what will also happen is that then the buyers will say that they want you to leave some ridiculous amount of money in escrow. And that is another nightmare. Again, just really something that I've seen with other, brokerages or people that have come to me and told me these nightmare stories. And then it takes forever for this client to be able to get their money out of escrow. It is just bad business. Really important tip, if not one of the most important ones today, is to make sure that you have all these things lined up. And we have great professionals that can help you if you don't have these things in place to be able to close these things out or get these things done for us to be able to move forward with the transaction.
Let's go on to tip number 8. If the price isn't right, who's going to bite? Pricing it right the first time.
This is
So,
very important, especially now with what's going on. You want to make sure that your brokerage and the realtor that you pick, the agent, is well versed on what's happening in your market in the last 90 days. It isn't business as usual. This isn't, well, I looked at the comps in a year and we can look at those comps. You're going to really want to make sure that they are doing their due diligence to find out who's on the market today, what is your direct competition, and what's sold in the last 90 days. We are seeing a lot of trends where we're speaking to our partners that are mortgage lenders, and a lot of buyers are teed up. They're calling. They've had an influx of calls because the interest rates are at all-time low. So they're saying, listen, we're not quite ready right now, but certainly in 2 weeks or whenever this opens up, we're going to hit the floor running. So what do we want to do? We want to be ready. We want to be priced right. You don't want to underprice the property and you don't want to overprice the property. So it is really crucial for you to partner with the brokerage that you go with and your agent to make sure that you are at the right price. It's going to get you the best results in the shortest amount of time.
there is a perfect way to sell your house, and it is by optimizing all these different factors of the real estate transaction to the best light, and kind of getting more buyers attracted to it through them. It is definitely important to make sure we're not coming overpriced, because in the event that we do come in too high and we start slashing prices, it only looks and reflects bad on the property, because then buyers start to believe maybe there's something I'm not seeing. Maybe once I get the inspector in there, there's going to be a family of possums in the attic and they're chewing away, like things like that along that nature, that obviously start running through people's minds when they see something sitting on the market stagnant for so long. So definitely want to come to market at the right price, and do our due diligence and research prior to listing, because obviously that first day on market is when it's really hot and you get that new to market logo on MLS. So let's head to tip number 9. There's no better time than now. Listing at the right time.
So people ask me this every day now for the last, 45 days or so. Is it the right time? Should I list today? Should I wait till next week? Should I wait till? Really, I will tell people right now, based on what the trends that we're seeing, this is the right time. If you have all the tips that we just talked about teed up, if you have all those things addressed, you are in the best time to showcase your property. And the reason being is that we have a low inventory happening right now. And what's happening is that a lot of the customers are really getting, anxiety because they have limited time. They're working on getting their kids back to school in September. So they're thinking, oh my God, you know, I have this little bit of time and I have to get out there and start to move forward so that we can make all the arrangements, have the closing, and be in our house for the new school year. So right now is the right time. Being able to look and identify all the things that you need to do to get the house ready, and then going ahead and placing it on the market at the right price is going to be key. And I anticipate this people that do this right now will be the people that will benefit the most from getting the highest bang from your buck. And unfortunately, we cannot predict the future. We can only predict the current trends, and the current trends right now, properties are moving, buyers are calling, virtual tours are happening, and closings are happening. So striking while the iron is hot, like they say, is really key, and right now would be my recommendation to go to market at the right price with all those things in place. Do not wait, because we don't know what's going to happen 3 to 4 months from now with the market and the prices. Right now we have a strong market. Prices are holding and are even up 5% in Suffolk as of last week in price point and dollar amount. So we need to maximize on all of that.
Absolutely, and it definitely is no better time than now, due to the fact that, like in any other year we've experienced in the real estate market, spring is sprung. And when spring is sprung, people start getting that itch with the nice weather. They want to move, they want to get out of their apartments, do this, do that, and it's definitely, regardless of what's going on now with the lack of inventory and higher increase of demand of people wanting to get out of the city and different areas to get to more rural and spaced out areas to get away from the sickness, it's definitely the best time, in our opinion, to start listing now and having all this stuff lined up.
Absolutely. And again, just to add to that, before we go to the last slide, you know, you have all these people at home, online, looking, surfing, the most time they'll ever spend looking for a house online, unlimited, interrupted time is now. So bear that in mind. Tip number 10.
If you don't know, how can you fix it?
Very important. Get feedback.
So it is very key that as a home seller, lister, whatever you'd like to be to call it, that you need feedback. You should be requesting that your agent give you feedback from every person that tours through your house. Every time there's a showing, you should be hearing back as to what the agent's buyers thought, why they didn't like it, why they did like it, whether they want to move forward, whether they don't want to move forward, what's holding them up. All these different things are drastically important for you due to the fact that it allows you to adjust and plan for the next one. Oh, this person thought it was too dark in the house. Okay, I'm going to open up the drapes. The kitchen was too small. Okay, I'm going to remove 2 of these tables that I had that I don't really need, which will open up the space a little bit and allow us to not have that opinion come up again that the kitchen's too small. Just little things along those lines, and eventually you'll hear the same things that we've been saying, that, oh, well, I don't really like the color of paint. It had yellow in this room and then brown throughout the house. Just a lot of times nowadays people want to see grays, whites, neutral colors that are just kind of appealing and clean to the eye to anybody. Definitely very important to get feedback, and not only get feedback, listen to the feedback and actually learn and grow from it.
Absolutely. And 60, you know, typically a house sells between 60 or 90 days. That's the average. We've been known to sell homes in less than 60 days. And these are the things that we go into the properties and sit down with our sellers and we talk about. And we really, you know, spend that time maximizing every opportunity we have in the house, so that when we hit the market, we're in and we're out, and there's no question. So we know what we're doing, and we certainly love when sellers are curious and hear our feedback, because they then benefit from the results.
Yes, absolutely. And
Absolutely.
lastly, thank you so much for joining us.
Now it's time to answer some questions. So we have a question on the side, Matthew. We have a question from Karen McLean. A question for the end. Are there less buyers now because of all the people who are unemployed? That's a great question. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have seen a dramatic decline in sales from April of last year to this April of 30% of closings. It was in March, it was about 20%. It just reached 30% in April. So unfortunately, we are seeing that. However, we have to remember that we have essential workers still out there, nurses, police officers. There's a ton of people that are still employed, thank God, and that are currently continuing with their plans that they had prior to this to either upgrade or to get into their home. So those people are out there, and they are acting on all the things that are happening in the market and moving forward. Next question. Matt, you want to get that?
What is your best advice for first-time home buyers? What programs are available now during COVID-19? Definitely a great question, obviously pertaining to the topic of what's going on. Some of my best advice I'd give first-time home buyers is to do your research. A lot of times you'll see these houses on the market, and you'll be like, oh, I love that house. I don't know if I can afford it. Well, then you should call the mortgage banker. He'll be able to tell you exactly what you qualify for, what programs apply to your your situation that you're in. Say like given your situation, you're unemployed, or yes, you're unemployed. They'd be able to tell you what you're able to do, and along those lines, they'd be able to help you out.
Going back to work, absolutely, Matt. And in addition to that, there is a lot of programs with first-time home buyers. And right now, what they're doing is, heard that teachers and some local banks are giving incentives towards closings. So there is a lot going on, which is really awesome. And there'll be so much more to unpack as this whole thing kind of calms down. So I've heard of 2 to 3% credits towards closings with these lenders around this whole thing to incentivize the market. And I am telling you, there's going to be a lot more of that. So to Matthew's point, talking to your lenders, making sure that you shop at least 2 to 3 lenders. This is a big purchase, and this is the time you want to shop around and make sure you get the best, mortgage for yourself. Next question, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? I would have to say that in Long Island right now, it is a seller's market. Knock on wood. It's still a seller's market. The values are still up, increasing from last year in April, and we're really excited about that. But again, circling back to what we were saying earlier, this is why the time is now. List now. If you were thinking of listing, this is the time, because we don't know in 6 months if that's going to make a shift. But right now, it is definitely a buyer's market. Matt, you want to do the next one?
Yeah, absolutely. We got a question from John. Great talk. I learned so much. I really appreciate that, John. My question is, are banks still funding loans during this crisis? Are there any reputable mortgage brokers? Thanks to the PJ Library and the Icon team for a great meeting. Oh, well, that's an awesome question and message. So yes, banks are still pushing out loans. I actually have a bunch of wonderful mortgage bankers I work with. Quentin Hardy with Movement Mortgage. He's still firing out loans. He's on Instagram every day. I think his name's The Qualifier on Instagram. He's out here giving tips just like this to prospective home buyers on basically what the best practice are and the updates on what's happening in the mortgage market today with everything going on. Let's see, I think that was a 2-part. Let me see. And yep. Yes, there you go. Reputable mortgage brokers. I would say Quentin Hardy, give him a call. Movement Mortgage, definitely a wonderful guy and someone I'd refer to all of my buyers.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We have, I think, a couple just more comments. Somebody, Antonio, thank you so much. It says he's going to be reaching out to us. We're here to help you. All of our content information will be under. Also, make sure you go to our website. We have an interview we just did with the mayor that we talk a little bit more in depth about all these things and just all the ways that you can contact us.
Absolutely. realestatespecialist.com.
All right, Matt, you want to take Jamie? What's that question?
Jamie, love the presentation. I'm just wondering, how do I hire a photographer, videographer during COVID? Do I have to wait, or can I allow them in my home if I give them permission, or do I take some pictures and send them to the professional? Good question, Jamie. So basically, it's been kind of playing by ear. Photographers and videographers are allowed to enter homes, especially per the seller's permission. So really, it's up to the seller whether they want someone going through their home or not. The way I would hire a photographer or videographer would be to go to my agent. So if you came to us, we have photographers and videographers that we work with frequently and would be able to refer you within seconds. Would not be an issue there.
Okay.
Thank you, Icon team and Port Jefferson Place Library. I appreciate all you're doing. That's awesome. Thank you so much for the comment. What is the market like for home flippers? The market's still there. The inventory is low. So finding those good investment properties and really getting them back on the market in really turnkey state, nothing they'll have to do, is a huge plus to be coming in the market with now, considering that there is a low inventory.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate this time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please feel free to reach out to us. It was so nice connecting with everyone, and we look forward to all your calls and all your emails.
Look forward to seeing you guys and doing business with you. It was awesome. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you so much, Matthew and Raquel. Really appreciate it. Hope everyone learned something. I know I learned a few tips. And if you have any other library-related questions or anything, we hope to hear from you, and we'll see you at some of our other programs. That's it.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.